Hey y'all, it's Nomadic Shaman here. Thank you for visiting my page. Today's video the focus is going to be on Dacara Thompson's case. For those who are not familiar, it's about a 19-year-old African-American girl who lived in Lanham, Maryland, and I believe she drove out around between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, telling her dad she was going to go ahead and get gas. And her last time that she was seen, I believe, was in Hyattsville, and they showed a video footage of her leaving her car and hitting her car fob, so locking the car, and then walking to the left somewhere into the abyss. One reason or another, I am very drawn or pulled to this case. And I actually wanted to look a little bit further and see what my spiritual team had to offer, see what type of information that I was able to gain. I don't know what the pull is, but there's definitely a pull for me to look into her case. I have been keeping up, I believe, on YouTube for any updates on her case. I haven't looked, I believe, in the last few days as far as updates regarding her case. But I will say up until last week, I have been keeping up with her case. And I'm feeling very drawn because there's a lot of things that aren't being said, haven't been said. Some, unfortunately, information as it relates to this case, people will be taken to their graves, and others, the information will come out in the future at some point or another. Now, one of the things that had me drawn to Dacara Thompson is the fact that she was young, she was 19, she was an African American woman. I feel like she was really starting to hit the ground running as far as her life and her future goals and plans. And it's just like everything came to a halt. Okay. And so what I did was I connected with her spiritual team, and I connected with her spiritual team to gain permission to tap into her energy. Okay. And so I plan on being completely honest on what I was able to find. I got downloads I'm going to share. I even did some automatic writing, and I did pull some cards for clarification on this particular case. Let me start off by saying that Dacara Thompson, I'll put it like this. I'm going to start off from the rip. The person that they have currently in custody, Hugo Mendez, the Guatemalan, 35-year-old Guatemalan, who they're holding with no bail. He is the individual that is responsible for her taking her last breath. Okay. But make no mistake about it, he did not work alone. This murder was premeditated. Okay. He did not work alone. And in fact, I would say this not only was it premeditated, but he was a hired help. Okay. He was hired help. He executed the job to send her to her final resting place. And he was involved in the planning on the tail end of how it was going to be executed. However, he was not the decision maker. He was not the initial decision maker. He was not the person who got the funds to have this plan executed, y'all. Okay. There are other people involved who have, they're not up in jail. I'll put it like that. There are other people involved, okay? He basically was told what to do and executed what he did. But again, he wasn't the person who initiated this plan or plot. He wasn't the person to give the green light. He was called in, okay? He was, I'm hearing paid assassin, okay? This isn't his first rodeo. He's known for this. I don't know why I'm picking up on dark web, almost like a catalog, like someone's going through a catalog. Yo, it could be almost like spirits telling me yes. I was gonna say it could be word of mouth, so it could be a combination of the two, like word of mouth and like a catalog, kind of like flipping through the pages of which hired assassin do I want to pick? Which one would be the ideal candidate for this particular case? Which one has specialized skills that I need to make sure that this goes to plan? And that's how he was selected, because he comes, I'm hearing, he comes highly recommended, so his reputation precedes him. Okay, so he's done jobs like this before. So that's number one. I think the other part of it, why I felt so drawn to Dacara Rose Thompson's case, is because she reminded me a lot of myself at her age. Young, naive, green, very trusting. I know right off the bat that she's a starseed. Okay. She's a divine being, divine feminine, who had a huge like goal, you know, when she came here on this planet. And she has a very caring nature, trusting nature. This is some of the stuff that I've actually heard her mother say, but this is also energy that I'm picking up. Very nurturing. I'm getting teacher. I'm getting assisting, and would help pretty much anybody that she could, okay? I'm also getting that she was a black sheep in the family. So with that comes a lot of resistance within the own family dynamic, tension, okay? And a lot of times, not a lot of times, I can speak for a black sheep myself, is that you're charged to break the generational curses and trauma that run into your family. So that's just a huge undertaking. And she was one of those souls that was selected to carry out that job. Okay. So that's just some of the things that I was picking up on. Very huge light, big star seed. Now to start, well, I've started a lot. So let me just pause this real quick and say, this reading is for edutainment purposes only. Please use your own discernment, okay? I will say I'm good at what I do. However, I do not know everything. I can acknowledge that. And my predictions and readings are not always 100% accurate, but I'm good at what I do, okay? So, let me see. So I did some automatic reading to start. Where are we? 8 minutes. Okay, so to start, what I will say is I did some background. I'm not going to go real deep into it, but I wanted to tap into Dakara's energy, as well as her mother's energy and her father's energy. So some of the questions that I asked was, what did her father think or view Dacara? How did Dacara view her father? And what was the dynamic of that relationship? I also asked the same questions as far as, how did Dacara view her mother? How did her mother view Dacara? What was the dynamic of that relationship? I also then, the last question that I asked was if her father or her mother had any involvement in her murder, okay? Whether it's payment, whether it's inception or conception of the idea, right? Or any type of involvement or participation. I will say that there was a lot of information that came up and out regarding their family business. I'm not going to speak on that here because the goal is to keep it superficial, shallow. I'm not about to put their business out there like that, but I'm just going to keep it to those questions. So let's start. So I did some automatic writing. Those are the questions that I asked. Okay. So in asking about how did Dacara see her dad, I don't know if he was fired or laid off between the years of 2023 or 2025. But for some reason, I'm getting like some type of loss of income between those periods, between 2023 or 2025. Okay. I'm also getting that let me just say it. I'm getting that how Dacara viewed her father was he was very resourceful, good at making things happen, good at balancing his resources. I heard making a way out of no way. Okay. I also got emotionally cold. So even though his affection ran deep for his daughter, he wasn't always expressive, at least for Dacara, not to her desire or liking or what she needed. He wasn't super affectionate or emotionally expressive. Okay, because I also heard father wounds. Now, on Dakara's part, okay. How did Dacara see her dad? Very resourceful. He was really good at budgeting, good at saving, really good at taking calculated risk for future planning. She was very fond of him. I got happy. She saw him as confident, successful, accomplished. He didn't like to spend his money frivolously. It's almost like he was frugal with his money, which could probably tie into the loss of income that I was picking up. Or he could always be that way, right? Like holding tight to your money, not spending it frivolously. I don't know why I can't even say that, but not spending it frivolously, okay? Everything is accounted for. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm getting. What else? If I didn't mention before, goal-oriented, okay? Goal-oriented. I said I had asked Dacara okay. Let me backtrack here. Let me see. There's like 13 minutes, y'all. Okay, so the nature of relationship. One of the things that I picked up on was mental illness. I don't know if it's due to anxiety or depression, but I felt like if it wasn't Dacara, then it was her father. Because I'm also picking up on prescription pills for this. Okay, either depression, anxiety, something around that sort. Okay, I'm picking up on prescription pills. I do feel that there's a huge amount of guilt on the father's end. I feel that there's a huge amount of guilt because he holds himself responsible for the careless or reckless decision for allowing his daughter to just leave and not following up or keeping her home. Okay, I do pick up on that. So in relation to their relationship, I pick up emotionally guarded, which speaks on as far as emoting, being expressive with his emotions and affections. That's not usually his go-to, or at least not, again, I said, at least not for as much as what Dacara needed. Okay. What else? Yeah, she needed a lot more attention, affection from her father. At least that's what she was looking for. Okay. Um, what else? I felt like Dacara wanted to make her father proud. Um, make her father proud in the sense of planning out her future, sticking with a plan and seeing it through, like finally being serious on what she wanted to do and what that would look like as far as being mapped out. Because I also get a sense where I'm hearing judgmental, so I almost get a sense that Dacara felt that her dad may have judged her too harshly based on her decision making, where her decision making could have been looked at as poor choices, poor decision making, like not really fleshing out the ideas or putting full thought into it before doing something, at least as it relates to future planning, because that's where her father and her differed. Okay, so I'm getting judgmental that she didn't view or operate in that sense yet. Okay, or at least to um, her father's standards. Okay, it could be to the standards she put on herself based on what she felt as far as the judgment she was getting from her father. Okay, uh, let's see. Um, One other thing I'm picking up on, in his house, Dakara's father's house, in her bedroom, there is hidden surveillance. I'm picking up on only one, and I'm picking up on, it could be a camera, it could be a listening device. I'm picking up on only one, and it's located in her bedroom. Okay. Um, Again, with Dakar, she, at the point where she was in her life, she was looking to become more independent, looking to carve out her own way. Um, and I don't know why, but I'm picking up on somebody being an alcoholic in the family. It could be the mom or the dad side, but I'm picking up an alcoholic, okay? Um, I'm also picking up that on her dad's side of the family, there's a lot of, and I'll just leave it at that, there's a lot of generational trauma, and how they're used to navigating the generational trauma is to pray it away. A lot of Black families do this. Pray it away, sweep it up under the rug, look the other way as if it's not there, and just keep on pushing and living. Okay. And while all of that, as they sweep it on the rug, they greet people with fake smiles as though they're not dealing with any of that shit. Okay. And there's some family secrets up in there. Okay. I'll keep it at that. Um, when I asked how Dan Thompson, how he saw his daughter, he saw his daughter as a star, a sunshine. It's almost like the apple of my eye. He actually saw a lot of her in him, good and bad. He saw a lot of good. I'm hearing yes. He saw a lot of his favorable qualities being displayed, like through his daughter, witnessing and observing and experiencing his daughter. But then he also saw where he fell short through his daughter, okay? At least the type of relationship that they had. I'm hearing loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. So he saw Dacara as she puts family above everything. She's loyal to, she's very family oriented. She's loyal to her family. Even the ones that she doesn't have the best relationship with. I'm getting that even despite the the cold emotional aspect from her father, she still was very, very fond of him. Okay, very fond of him. I'm hearing that she was more fond of him, of her father, than she was of her mother. Okay. I'm hearing just like your dad. Just like your dad. So I don't know if other family members have said that to Dakar, like you're just like your dad. Okay. Dakar admits that she could be very set in her ways. That's where her and her father can be very similar, set in their ways, okay? Like a stubborn streak. He also, the message that I was also getting was that how Dakara's father viewed Dacara was she's very wise, very knowledgeable, very wise. Um, like there was just some things that she had emotional maturity in, outside of like planning future wise, okay, and then making poor choices, you know. Um, but she was very wise, okay. Dakar's father also saw Dakar as very indecisive at times. Um, this is regarding the future planning. She could be a reclusive. Um, there are many times where she was isolated outside of work. She kept to herself basically. You could say antisocial, but she kept to herself like a hermit. Okay. The energy that I did pick up on was her father looked at Takara like she was his inspiration. He was inspired by a lot of the things that she did. Okay. I'm hearing it like because she was adventurous. You know, she had that inquisitive, childlike curiosity. Okay. And sometimes that would land her in some bullshit, that but in other ways she was not afraid to step out and to do different things. Okay. Um, I'm hearing pride and joy and strong. So he saw his daughter as his pride and joy and very strong. Um, let me see if there's anything else. Where are we at? I'm at 24 minutes. Wow. Okay. So let me just finish wrapping up here. The I asked how was her experience while living in her father's house, and what I got was it was like a transitionary period. She really wanted to step out, become more independent, stack her money up, get her money up, hustle, so that she can be more independent and have a place of her own. Okay. So she was looking at it as like a means to an end. Like, I'm gonna stay here for X amount of time. It's not gonna be for a long time until I can until I'm able to stack up so I can afford my own place and be out. This is what I'm getting. Um and there were times where she was very hard on herself because things weren't happening as quickly as she wanted them to, as far as her position financially. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the mother. So, the mother, that was very interesting. The mother, what I got was there's a lot of secrets in that family on the mother side. Um, a lot of secrets. I'm talking about, I'm not going to even say it because it doesn't even pertain to what I'm saying. I'm gonna just leave it at that. A lot of family secrets that are being thrown up under the rug, and nobody's apologizing for them. Nobody's trying to um, confront anybody for knowing what they've done, and nobody's trying to go to therapy centered around that stuff. Rather, they're just pretending it just didn't happen. Okay. This is not so much pertaining to the case. I'm speaking specifically about the trauma and the secrets that run on her mother's side of the family. Okay. I'm not going to divulge here. Now, let me see if there's anything else. Let's see. I'm just making sure I covered everything for my automatic writing session, y'all. Okay. Okay. So, as it relates to her mom, I asked, how did how did Dakar view her mom? Sometimes she felt that her mom was unfair. Sometimes she felt that whenever her mom would do anything for her, she would hold it over her head, constantly remind her of the things that she did for her daughter. Dakar didn't like that. Okay. Um, and it could be something small, you know, paying as far as money related, like paying for something. Okay. But Dakar didn't like it where she felt like her mom held it over her head as far as like always reminding her of what she did for her, especially when it concerns like money or a favor. Dakar didn't like that. Uh, so their relationship at times was tense. Her mother would view Dakara as the star seed that she is. Okay. I did pick up tension. I did pick up the relationship between the mom and Dakara was very tense. At times, I picked up that um, the mom, when, and my mom does it too, but in the sense where if there's something that's going awry within the family, how she presents is like fake smiles, like we all good up in here. Okay. Um, So that's what and that's part of, pushing stuff under the rug type of thing. Like everything's okay, everything's right. Business as usual, okay? Uh, I did get that there was jealousy and envy from that dynamic of the relationship. Jealous and envy from Dakar's mom's part towards Dakar. Okay. And some people be like, huh, what? How? What? But if you're a chosen one, a star seed, um, you're one who's been handpicked or selected by the Most High to break generational curses within your family dynamic. All of you all know that that shit ain't foreign. That almost seems like that's a prerequisite for the family that you're in, because it's so normal for people to be envious or jealous of your light. This is what I'm picking up, y'all. Okay, from Dakar's mom to Dacara, like there was some envy, jealousy, feelings of envy, feelings of jealousy surrounded on regarding Dakara's light. Okay, she had a huge light connected to her calling. Okay. Um, I'm getting that they would get into very intense arguments. Um, Things were said that shouldn't have been said, that didn't need to be said. And from Dakar's perspective, she was looking at her mother in those times as venomous, based on one, what she said, and how she said it. Okay. Sometimes she would question if her mom truly loved her. Okay. Because I'm getting mothers aren't supposed to act like that. Mothers aren't supposed to say those type of things. This is what I just heard, y'all. Um,